Hello. It's been a long time. I think it's about a year now since I actually did a video. That's assuming this even works. I gave up because I started having trouble uploading stuff. Don't know why. Just one day videos just would not upload. My internet hasn't changed. Using the same device, everything. So I've no idea why it suddenly became a problem. I put it down to something changing with YouTube. I don't know. See how this goes. You might see this, you might not. Anyway, actually haven't done a great deal in the past year, I've got to say. Seem to spend a lot of the weekends working, and with the price of everything going up as it has been, I'm not actually any better off for doing it. Just kind of keeping on a level that I was at previously and having to work bloody Saturdays. So it's not left me a great deal of time for hobby stuff, unfortunately. But basically I've managed to get a load of stuff prepared, ready to paint. And at the moment I'm really into the colonial period, like British colonial stuff. Particularly the Sudan, which is what you can see before you, and also Zulu War and Afghanistan. But at the moment I'm focusing on Sudan, or trying to focus on Sudan when I get to do anything. So yeah, what you can see there are the Mahdist force. Now these, I've kind of assembled these on the sort of basis of a couple of rule sets I've discovered. I mean, I've got sharp practice, but they that only went up to a certain period. But there was a Lardy's supplement which gave Lardy's special. They have like a magazine. It's a digital magazine, and it covers all their different rules. They bring out scenarios and stuff in the magazines, and some chaps come up with rules for using sharp practice for Sudan, because obviously sharp practice is more or less sort of musket era. And of course, when you get to the later period of Victorian age, you've got rifles and stuff, so it has a different effect on the gameplay, I guess, because you've got like hordes of opponents, like the natives, the Sudanese or Zulus, whoever, Afghanistans. They tend to be like horde forces, don't they? Trying to close with the British, who rely on not numbers but kind of drill and their weaponry. So I think they had to come up with an adaptation to cover that, so that the kind of breech loading rifles weren't too sort of overpowered. But anyway, I've not really got into it, to be honest. But I found this. I got this supplement, got the rules, and it's got all the force lists, like for the Mahdists and the British. And I've also got a set of rules called Victoria's Battles, and there are three of those. There's one. They use generally the same kind of engine, as it were, but they're tweaked for the different periods. So there's one for the Sudan, one for the Zulu Wars, and one for Afghanistan. So I started building the forces based on the rules for Victoria's Battles, which do look like good rules, but the only thing I wasn't so keen on was that they didn't differentiate between different troop types. Whereas, like sharp practice, you'll have different stats for, say, British regulars, as opposed to Highlanders, as opposed to Naval Brigade, as opposed to Royal Marines, and that sort of thing. Whereas Victoria's Battles just sort of basics, covers them all as the British, basically. So yeah, whereas I like the look of Victoria's battles, it doesn't have the kind of one more step of granularity, I suppose you call it, which Sharp Practice has got there. But Victoria's battles had some good scenarios in it, so these forces I've put together are based on a scenario from Victoria's battles. I think there's about 3 or 4. I just went for the first one, which is a fairly basic one, and it's a British force defending an outpost against attacking Mahdists, outnumbered obviously, and I've sort of already got some of the terrain that I want for it. I've had for like a few years. I've got some stone walls from a company called Red Dragon, so I've like dug those out, undercoated a load of them, and started painting them. In sort of sandy, sandstone type colour walls. I was going to make the buildings because I've made some buildings before in 20mm for modern Afghanistan, and the buildings seem to be like, don't seem to change. They're basically square, rectangular formation, basically. Windows and recessed rooftops and that, and they're quite easy to make out of foam board, which is what I did the 20mm ones out of. So I was just going to put together a few buildings for the outpost, like have one that's probably a couple of stories, which would be the lookout. Got the stone walls. Pretty much got. Yeah, apart from making the buildings, I don't need a great deal. And then I bought some cheapo kind of plastic palm trees. I've got bases for them, so put some of those together. I've also got some sandbags, resin sandbag kind of blocks. So I think I've got everything I need really for the actual scenario. Picked up some camels and stuff because I want some camels for like a baggage train. So that's it. But basically this is it's part of the Midas force. I'll show you the cavalry in a minute. This is all a mix of, I'll move that around and twist this. This is a mix of Perry and Old Glory. And the way this is laid out is got 3 groups of here. They're Ansar warriors. With a leader. Then you've got 3 groups of Fuzzy Wuzzies, Beja, Beja tribesmen, with a leader, and then at the back there, a group of Jahidya riflemen. I'm using a Beja leader for them because he's looks quite appropriate with a razor rifle. So yeah, they're a mix of Old Glory and Perry. Some of them painted because I started doing this. I took an interest in Sudan a few years ago before I moved house. So I started painting some then. That's an Old Glory one. So there's a bit of a crossover really of timescales of the forces there because I think they did dress differently at different periods of the war. I've got a mix of everything really because I like the look of everything. All these ones here, the Ansar ones, I'm going to paint in this style where they had the sort of jibba painted with coloured patchwork. Well, not painted, but they had them patched up with coloured patches, so I'm going to paint them that sort of style. Whereas the I mean, I started doing this one here, a Beijer Tribesman, in the similar style, but I'm going to basically do the Fuzzy Wuzzies in that kind of either in plain white or mostly in these kind of ochre and tan coloured robes. And then the rifleman at the back I'll do again in the patchwork colours. That's the infantry for the Mahdists. And the cavalry element is completely unpainted, I'm afraid. It's just all undercoated and, you know, but ready to go. Get it to focus. Not brilliant light, is it? Sun's shining right at me here. But yeah, that's two groups of horsemen. I've just got to sort out a leader figure. I've got some somewhere. I bought some mounted command. They're all Perry metals. And now the British, which you can see is a lot smaller. Now these are ones I've actually got around to starting to paint, really. The scenario just says, like, you know, British regulars, but I've always liked the Naval Brigade aspect of colonial forces. So I've gone for Naval Brigade and Royal Marines. So in this I've got, well, two groups of Naval Brigade, and they're in groups of 8. Two groups of Royal Marines, now in groups of 8 again, with a overall sort of leader there, mounted leader, this chap. Then at the back got 6 Hussars. Yeah, all these figures are Perry, by the way. Yeah, 6 Hussars at the back there. Only painted 1 so far, the rest have only just started the horses. And a Gardner gun, Naval Brigade Gardner gun. You can see that. Get my hands in the right place here. Yeah, there's the Gardner gun. I'll show some of these in a bit of detail because they're painted. But yeah, so you can see that a lot smaller force for the British than the Mahdists. But yeah, they're, like I say, this is entirely Perry, the British. Good range. Right, I'll show some in a bit more detail that have been painted. Get a decent light on them. Let me see. Yeah, light's not too good, is it? Anyway, we'll see what we can do. Now this is like a command stand, which effectively doesn't play much part in sharp practice. It was more for Victoria Battles, they have command stands, so I thought I'd do one. So it's a mixture of a Naval Brigade, a Royal Marine and a Naval Brigade officer. Again, all Perry. The flag is by Maverick Models, who are great. He didn't have a range of Victorian flags, so I asked him, Stuart, if he'd consider doing something. He did. I was going to buy some more, but subsequently I sent him a photograph of this so you could see one of his flags like in action, and I never heard back from him, so I don't know if my email got lost somewhere. But yeah, so that's a command stand that for sharp practice wouldn't actually come into effect. Again, not getting much decent light here. See a bit better there. Try and get them to focus a bit. Not having it. You can tell I haven't made a video for a while, can't you? Oh, a bit better. Yeah, Metal Perry. For the colours I've used Foundry. They've got a Royal Navy Triad, so I've used that. They do theirs in like shade, basic tone, and then the highlight. So it's Royal Navy blue for them. Love this officer figure. In fact, since I started doing historical stuff, the one set I always wanted was this Naval Brigade command set. I've wanted them for years. For some reason, never got around to getting them, so I just got them this year. Brilliant. Love the British colonial period. Probably the wrong thing to say nowadays, but there you have it. As for the Royal Marines, these are actually made these using plastic Anglo-Zulu War British, because they didn't have the kind of leg wraps that the plastic Sudan and Afghanistan British have got. I actually got the idea from some chap's blog online, but I can't remember who it was. I think he used them for Royal Marines or for light infantry. So I thought that was a good idea. Yeah, so I made all the Royal Marines up using Anglo-Zulu, but with the Sudan British head, because it's got got that, I think it's called a puggaree around the helmet there. So I copied that bloke's idea. Not focusing. But yeah, and as for the colour, again, it's a Foundry Triad. Again, I got this, I think it might have been the same bloke's blog. The idea he used was a colour called British Gun Grey. Again, it comes in shade, basic tone and highlight, and it was perfect for the kind of serge grey that the British used in Sudan, because they sort of transitioned from grey to khaki throughout that conflict. Started off with grey, and then I think they had like troops coming over from India who were in khaki, and then they all decided, we'll wear khaki, because obviously out in the desert, I suppose it worked better. But I think the Royal Marines always wore grey. So, and like some of the Highlanders, they wore grey as well. So that cut this British Gun grey colour is perfect for the British Surge grey. So it was a good spot from that bloke, but I can't credit him because I can't remember his name. But yeah. So like I say, I've always liked the naval aspect of British colonial, so I went for Naval Brigade rather than British Regulars. I've got loads of British Regulars, but I will do like a set of British Regulars and also a set of Sikhs, because they're one of my favourites. The Sikhs were, real stalwarts of the British Army. So yeah, I'm going to do like a Sikh force as well for this same scenario. Lastly, British Hussar. Only painted this one so far. Again, Perry. Really nice figures. Khaki sort of hat and jacket. Dark blue trousers, yellow trim. I used Vallejo khaki to do the jacket. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to plug through at the moment, and also I'm doing a few bits for New Line Design, so I'm trying to get those done. But yeah, not finding a great deal of time at the moment. But yeah, that's the current project at the moment. Well, you always have more than one. The other thing I've become interested in is World War One. And here we've got get in first, Belgians. Now these figures are really nice. They're from Brigade Models UK, so not to be confused with the American company Brigade. I think I picked these Belgians because they just look so different. I was just doing a general search for World War One figures, and these sort of popped up on the search. I went and had a look, tried a few packs, and they're really nice sculpts. Lovely, quite chunky. I mean, I would say they're comparable to sort of Great War figures, if any of you have seen any of those in sort of heft. But yeah, really nice. These are Carabiniers. They do wearing like these Tyrolean hats. They do Carabiniers, basic line, who are wearing like those little short Sharkos or Shakos. And they also do Grenadiers, who are wearing like field caps that look like I think the German version is called a Feldmutz. It looks like one of those. So my plan is to do like platoons. I was going to do like mixed platoons, so it was like 2 sections, 2 squads to a section. So I was going to have like 2 sections each of line, Carabiniers and Grenadiers. And they also used, to transport their MGs and their ammunition, they used dogs. They had dog carts. So for each section I'm having like a ammunition dog cart. And then they have like a company of machine guns, 6. So I'm going to do those. So it'll be 6 machine guns. I'm going to do 2 of each, 2 Grenadier, 2 line, 2 Carabinier, and each one will have 2 dog carts with it as well. So they've got the 2 dog carts to transport each MG. They're really good price as well. These brigade packs, 6 figures, £6.50. The dog carts are again £6.50. You get a dog, 2 dogs. The what do you call it? Mine's gone blank. What the hell do you call it? The what carries the cannons around? Forgotten. Anyway, you got the dog carts with the you can have either ammunition dog cart or a MG, so they're carrying the MG. So you get 2 dogs with the cart and the MG or the ammunition crate, and 2 troopers. Obviously they're not the dog handlers, but they look pretty much like this. They've got the shoulders slung over the shoulders, rifles slung over the shoulders. So yeah, £6.50 for that. A pack like that is really good. And they do packs of the actual MGs with the crew. You get 2 MGs with 2 lots of crew. I think it's either 2 or 3 crew on each gun. But yeah, good prices. Really nice sculpts as well. I'm just annoyed that the lighting is not great, but you get the idea there. So that's Belgians, and then obviously I want Germans for opposition. This is War Games Atlantic plastic German. With a 3D printed backpack, which Ralph Astley kindly done for me. Did loads for me. I managed to find these files with German backpacks. You got the early backpack like this, and then the later war backpack, which looks like just a big folded up sausage. Really, it's like a big blanket roll, folded up with the canteen stuff on it. But I'm going for early war look, although these are not quite early war because they don't have boots, they've got wraps. But yeah, these packs really set the figures off really well. Really appreciative of Ralph doing these for me. Brilliant job of him. Top bloke. Yeah, it really finishes these off nicely. It's the only one I've made so far. Going to get it undercoated today and then have a go at painting it. See how it comes out. And basically it was the reason I'm even attempting this video now is because of Ralph. He's asked me if I'd do another video because he's finding that a lot of the channels he follows seem to have kind of dried up, like I have. I stopped making them. And he's found that with quite a few that he liked watching. So I thought, right, I'll try, see if we get anything together. So anyway, hopefully this will work. You'll get to see it, and I'll try and do a bit more regular in future, and obviously go for better lighting. Hopefully next time I'll have progressed slightly with the Sedan Force and got at least a couple of tester figures done for the World War One. Want to get these 2 Belgians painted, put a couple of Germans together, get them painted, and get one of the dog carts set up and done as well. So anyway, hopefully nice to see you all again if this does upload. I'll try and do a bit more content, a bit more regular videos from now on, and start watching stuff again, because I think I got out of the habit of watching stuff regularly. So if I start making things again, hopefully it'll prod me to watch more stuff. I caught up on Ralph Astley's stuff. Watched a bit of Leon's things. But yeah, I have found too that, like Ralph says, a lot of people have stopped doing them. So hopefully people will start getting back into it, and hopefully I will. So anyway, take care everybody. Thanks for watching and subscribing, and hopefully see you soon. Take care.